This video is brought to you by the Joker, Society. First off, I just want to make this clear. I am not a true gamer boy. I watch a lot of Nakey Jakey, Video Game Donkey, the occasional Call Me Carson stream. But I've never played a lot of good video games. My childhood was the Lego Batman trilogy, cool math games, and Khan Academy programs. Recently, I've been getting into a little bit of Skyrim. I played a lot of Spider-Man and Injustice last year. It's a pathetic resume, I know, but at least it explains what I'm about to say. Batman Arkham Knight is my favorite game of all time. From the free-flow combat to the gothic aesthetic of the crime-ridden city and one of the best Batman stories ever told, this game has easily bested everything else I've ever played to become the crown jewel of the collection. Arkham Knight is probably the singular reason I've missed so many assignments last spring. Like, so many. Like at least a letter grade's worth. It's dumb. I'm a dumb boy who fell in love with what I saw as a masterpiece of entertainment. Yes, I know, tank battles, Jason Todd foreshadowing, Deathstroke in a tank, yada yada yada. The game isn't flawless by any means. Even amongst the games I've played, Spider-Man probably has better combat mechanics. But you know what? Shut up, okay? Don't take this from me. Please. I'm begging you. I first got into the game because of my roommate, Adam. He brought his PS4 and his TV to the dorm alongside Arkham Knight. One magical weekend, Adam went home and left his PS4 and Arkham Knight on the top of his desk. Some mysterious force came over me that night, and being the real sneaky bad boy that I am, I booted up the game. Adam, I'm so sorry, I'm a dumb baby boy, please don't beat me up. Playing the game for the first time, I was both confused and fascinated. Like, what? You can play as Batman in this game? And there's this thing called the Batmobile? And there are criminals on the streets that you could seriously maim and injure but not kill? That's crazy. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't anything I hadn't seen before. I played Lego Batman 2 before. It's the same shit, except for the fact that Lego Batman was much more brutal. Right as you start unlocking side missions in the story, you finally run into your old pal, Night Dick. And he's got a sweet birthday present for you. A new gadget, a new tool to aid you on your journey.
It's a prototype straight out of R&D. The old fox has outdone himself this time. I'll see you around, Bruce.
The Disruptor. Initially, you use it to track penguin thugs to their base, and the tracking mission is pretty fun, scouring the rooftops as you follow the cars below. And you can also use the gadget to disarm weapons crates, med packs, electric dildos, and turn them against a user. Later on in the game, you can even upgrade them to fully immobilize and destroy tanks. I used the hell out of the thing. I got all the upgrades and just hit tanks left and right with the hacking boogers. Oh look, there's a bunch of them down there. Let me just go ahead and yeah, there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we're good. Oh look, two guys with Lollapalooza glow sticks. Give me a second while I, That's what I thought. Bitch. Now, my love for this feature is not reflected by everyone. Adam despised every single time I'd take up a full 2 minutes setting up the playground for something that probably would be so much easier to do with a few Vulcan cannon shots. I mean, sometimes it can feel like cheating, just hovering an area with a gun, shooting down some tanks, walking by them like it's no big deal. Doesn't really feel too Batman-y, right? Well, maybe it does. Batman, at least in my interpretation of him, has always been the guy who encases any situation before entering combat. He uses all sorts of gadgets to intimidate his enemies, making him very much a work smarter not harder personality. He has precautions and backups for so many things he's faced with. Hell, he even has a contingency takedown plan for every hero in the Justice League. The Disruptor seems to represent that idea of taking a conflict, piecing it apart, to find the weaknesses, and then gaining almost full control of a situation. Seems like a pretty Batman thing to do. But again, that's just my interpretation of Batman. What about the Batman of this story? The story of Arkham Knight, at least in my opinion, is probably one of the best adapted Batman stories ever told. This wasn't your generic Batman story. This was a tale about a man knowing his end is near and doing everything in his power to prepare the world for what's next. Does it sound sort of familiar? It might, because it's what All-Star Superman does with its hero in spandex. Both of them seem to realize that they're at the end of their superhero arcs, and both are trying to set up the world to exist without them. Although the main conflict in this story is the mind war between Batman and the Joker, one of the themes of the story, similar to Dark Knight Returns, is Bruce finding a new way to become the hero of the city. He's learning more about the fear toxin, he's using the new and badass Predator suit, he's gliding around the city with his super grapple boost, moving almost inhumanely smooth during combat. And honestly, that seems to be his goal, to become this inhumane shadow demon of the night that makes all the criminals cower in fear. And the funny thing is that in the end, his plan seems to sort of fail. In the end, they all know that Batman ain't nothing but a kid who got his parents shot.
That's really reductive.
And that's why he kamikazes himself and lives on as the Nightfall Batman, the legend amongst criminals. The story naturally weaves the two ideas of the Scarecrow fear toxin and Batman's future persona. Nightfall Batman is a very Batman thing to do. And that's what the Disruptor represents to me. An extra element of that projection of Batman Bruce gives to his criminals. I mean, for a second, let's just imagine being a goon. A fog of smoke develops while you're executing a drug trade. You hear the faint screams of one of your friends being taken down by a dark figure. A medical expert on your team goes to heal your wounded, but as he applies the med pack, a jolt of electricity knocks him out. You're scared now, you're terrified, but you have a gun. Batman doesn't use guns. You see those pointed ears in the distance slowly approaching you, but you're ready to shoot. Click. Your gun's broken. Something's up with it. It was working a second ago, but it stopped. It's dead. Your gun cowers in fear of him. Now so do you. You've been swept off your feet. Literally. You're out cold now. It's over. You think that goon's gonna mess with the Batman again? I'm thinking probably not. The phrase Arkham makes you feel like Batman has been overused to the point of memity, and although haha very funny, I feel sad about that, because there's no other phrase that more accurately describes why I love using the Disruptor, why I like the hacking gadgets, the stealth and Predator missions, the characters, the story, the game as a whole, because I feel like Batman. And there's been only one time I've ever felt anything like that. As a kid, I had Lego Batman and really nothing else, but I was so happy with it. I replayed all the levels, I roamed around the Batcave, I beat up criminals in the weird Arkham Asylum pit, and when 2 came out, I couldn't stop messing around with the vehicles and roaming the streets of the magnificent and gothic Gotham, beating up literally everyone and trying to collect every single character. Lego Batman is what introduced me to the world that was comic books, superhero worlds, and the amazing character that was Batman. Once I got into middle school though, classes got harder and I had so much less time on my hands. My days of Lego Batman were in the past and my parents gave the PS3 away. Entering college was a little strange and somewhat emotional for me. I'd never been as independent as I ever was before. But now I had this thing called Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight is critically a much better game and so much different game than Lego Batman. But to a certain degree, they brought me the same nostalgia for the old days. Sitting in the basement for the entirety of the Christmas afternoon, about 2 feet from the TV, messing around till my parents got mad and called me back upstairs. Gliding around the city gave me memories of Batman's sonar suit. Fear takedowns were like breaking my enemies in the green stealth suit. And the weird explosive Elmer's Screw was like my power suit bombs. And standing on top the Wayne Tower to see the city I protect before me was exactly what I did when I was 8 years old. I'll continue to play all sorts of games, all sorts of critical hits, and I will enjoy them as much as any human can. But purely for what that game has done for me, Arkham Knight will remain my favorite game for a long time to come. So thanks, Adam, for letting me play for countless hours. Thanks to Rocksteady for giving me this experience I'll never forget. And thanks to my parents, who introduced me to the world that is